Vivian, hurry up and sign the divorce agreement." The mother-in-law sat on the sofa with a sense of righteousness. I couldn't help but curl my lips into a smile, yet I still put on a pitiful expression as I looked at Ethan. Ethan frowned and said, "Vivian, after all these years, you still can't have children. We shouldn't delay any longer." I pinched my thigh hard and finally squeezed out a few drops of tears. Mia, standing to the side, said sarcastically, "Sigh, who told my belly to be so promising? The first one is a son, sister, you should hurry and leave." I curled my lips at these words. Who knows whose child this is? Anyway, it can't be mine. Ethan pulled Mia behind him and walked up to me with a deep look in his eyes. "Vivian, we've been married for so many years, and you wouldn't want to see the G family without an heir, right? Let's part on good terms." Looking at the hypocritical Ethan in front of me, a wave of disgust rose in my heart, and I wanted to pounce on him and tear off his mask. I sighed, pretending to be reluctant, and nodded. Ethan, his mother-in-law, and Mia's eyes lit up. Grandma let out a sigh of relief, her tone softening as she handed the divorce agreement to me. "Vivian, Mom knows you are a good child. It's just that our families are not meant to be together. If you sign this, I will still treat you like a daughter in the future." I scoffed coldly in my heart, "Your own daughter hasn't come to see you in years." I picked up the agreement and glanced at it. "If you want me to divorce, the agreement must be rewritten according to my demands." The old lady's expression changed instantly, and she screamed in shock, "Vivian, don't refuse a toast and drink a penalty instead. For so many years, it has been my son supporting you. Giving you 200,000 is already quite generous." I took a deep breath and held back my impulse. "It was you who made me quit my job to stay home and have children. For so many years, I have served your family, and this price is more than what outside hourly workers would charge." I tore the divorce agreement in my hand. "I also paid for this house back then, so I have half of it now." The old lady snorted, "Your name is not on the property deed, and it's only a little over 100,000. Ethan lowered his head guiltily. "Mom, Vivian's name is on this property deed." I raised an eyebrow and smiled, lounging leisurely on the sofa. "When we bought the house, we agreed that I would contribute a bit more for the down payment, while Ethan would contribute a bit less, and he would handle the mortgage payments from then on. If I had the means, I could also contribute to the payments." On the day we signed the contract, Ethan suddenly said to put his name on the property certificate first, and that my name could be added when we bought a second house. Fortunately, my mom had repeatedly reminded me that since I was putting up the money, my name had to be on the property certificate. I didn't agree, and seeing my firm stance, Ethan gave in and wrote both our names on it. Mia's expression changed. Earlier, Ethan had coaxed her, saying that as long as she gave birth to the child, her name would be on the property deed. The grandmother walked up to Ethan and scolded him, "Didn't you tell me before that only your name is on the property deed? Now that the house is worth so much, how much will she get if you two divorce?" Mia quietly pinched her son in her arms, and the child immediately began to cry. Mia looked at Ethan with tearful eyes and said, "Ethan, it's my misfortune not to be with you, but Owen is still so young, he can't end up on the streets with me." Ethan held Mia tightly in his arms, and shot me a fierce glare. I feel a surge of speechlessness in my heart. "It's not like I asked you to cheat." Grandma turned back to me with the same kind expression as before and said, "Vivian, you have been married to the G family for 5 years now. I've treated you pretty well during these 5 years, haven't I?" I watched my mother-in-law's constantly changing expressions, and felt it was a pity she didn't learn the art of face changing. "Mom, for so many years, I've been the one cleaning the house, washing the clothes, cooking the meals, changing the light bulbs when they break, and unclogging the toilet. Do you think that's pretty good?" The old lady's expression changed. "Aren't these all things that a daughter-in-law should do?" I pulled the sleeve held by my mother-in-law back and looked at the three of them. 3 million, give me 3 million and I'll agree to the divorce." Ethan pushed open the door and angrily walked up to me. 3 million, why don't you go rob it? At first, it was my investment that got your startup off the ground. Without me, how could you have reached your current position? I crossed my arms and sat leisurely on the sofa, watching Ethan, whose head was practically on fire. Grandma pulled Ethan aside to look at me. "Then don't get a divorce. I've been dragging this out for you to see what you can do." Mia cried again. "Ethan, Owen will be starting school in 2 years. Should he live with the label of being a love child?" I admire Mia for her tears that come so easily. Ethan thought for a long time. His company was about to enter the second round of financing, and if Vivian caused a scene at that moment, it would be disastrous. Ethan glanced at me with a sneer. "Fine, 3 million it is. After the divorce, you are not allowed to set foot in this city again." I rolled my eyes in my heart. If it weren't for you begging me to come here, I would never have left my hometown in this lifetime. Ethan and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register our divorce. If it weren't for the 1-month cooling-off period, I would have left right now. When I got home to pack my luggage, I saw Mia eagerly moving in. Mia moved the luggage into the master bedroom and shouted at me, "Since we're divorced, you don't want to live here anymore, do you?" I packed my things, picked up the suitcase, ignored her, and turned to walk out. Ethan was afraid I would back out, so he first sent me 1 million. I looked at the numbers on my bank card, feeling great, and checked into a high-end hotel, waiting to collect my divorce certificate in a month. I lay in the hotel bathtub soaking, looking at the bustling city, reminiscing about my past with Ethan. I was born and raised in Binhai, and 10 years ago, I was admitted to the local Binhai University's Chinese department. On New Year's Eve of my sophomore year, I met Ethan, who came to Binhai for his graduate studies. I am tall and have a decent appearance. I've had quite a few admirers growing up, but Ethan was different from the others. Because I have a straightforward and honest temperament, most of the people who pursue me are direct. If I like them, I accept them, and if I don't, I simply reject them. Ethan is keeping me hanging like a frog in warm water, often asking how I'm doing, sending little gifts today, going to watch a movie together tomorrow, but he just won't confess his feelings. As time went on, I also couldn't stand it anymore, so I deliberately walked with other boys to provoke him. He finally got a little anxious and confessed to me. Ethan has been very good to me since we got together. The year he graduated from his master's program happened to be the same year I graduated from my undergraduate studies, and he urged me to return to Xinjiang with him. But I have grown up by the seaside my whole life, so I feel a bit conflicted about this matter. Later, Ethan held me in his arms, tears in his eyes, saying he didn't want to break up and didn't want a long-distance relationship. Looking at the pitiful Ethan, my heart softened, and despite my family's objections, I went with him to Xinjiang. After arriving in Xinjiang, I found a job as an editor at a magazine, while Ethan chose to start his own business. After a year of struggling, Ethan's work still showed no signs of improvement. I watched Ethan, who worked hard every day, and felt a pang of heartache. I invested the money I had saved during college in him and asked my relatives in finance to introduce clients to him. 6 months later, Ethan's company took off, and then he proposed to me. Not long after we got married, Ethan told me again to quit my job and stay at home to have children, saying he had the ability to earn money to support me. In the first year of marriage, I didn't get pregnant, and Ethan said there was no rush, that there would be opportunities in the future. In the second year of our marriage, I wasn't pregnant, and my mother-in-law found a bunch of prescriptions for fertility remedies for me to take, but Ethan said nothing. In the third year of our marriage, I had not become pregnant, and Ethan had already shown signs of displeasure, rarely coming home. In the fourth year of our marriage, I had not become pregnant, and Ethan often argued with me, living in a house outside. In the fifth year of our marriage, I had not become pregnant, and Ethan brought home another woman and their child, wanting to divorce me. The sound of the doorbell interrupted my memories. I put on my bathrobe and opened the door. Standing outside was Ethan's younger sister, Sophia. Sophia smiled and waved at me from outside. I opened the door and asked, "How did you find your way here?" Sophia casually lay down on the sofa and said, "I'm here to congratulate you. Congratulations on escaping that den of wolves." "How did you know that I divorced your brother?" "That woman posted it on her Moments, so of course I knew." I frowned at Sophia. Sophia explained to me that Mia and Ethan were middle school classmates and each other's first loves, but they were separated by Ethan's mother back then. It seems Ethan has deceived me quite a bit over the years. Sophia poured herself a glass of water and asked, after so many years with the G family, are you really just leaving? Don't you think it's a pity? I smiled slightly and said, leaving is just the first step, there's more good drama to come. Sophia, what are you planning to do? Tell me about it. That's your mom and your brother, you just want to see them in trouble. Sophia carelessly fell onto the bed. Since the day they wanted to sell me, I haven't considered them family. Sophia's grandparents always favored boys over girls. When Sophia was little, she grew up with her grandparents in her hometown. When Sophia was 8 years old, her grandparents passed away, and only then did her father and mother-in-law bring her back. In Sophia's first year of high school, her grandfather passed away due to illness. Her grandmother said she couldn't afford to support Sophia's education and wanted her to drop out. It was only after Sophia and the school persuaded her for a long time, and the school promised to waive Sophia's tuition, that her grandmother finally relented. Later, when Sophia got into college, her mother-in-law never contributed a single cent towards her living expenses or tuition. After I found out, I would occasionally send some money to Sophia. 2 years ago, Ethan's company was running out of funds, and his grandmother wanted to marry Sophia off to a man in his 50s in exchange for money for Ethan's company. Sophia refused vehemently and ran away to another place, never to return again. Oh, come on, sister-in-law, just tell me. Sophia said, clinging to my arm and acting cute. I'm not your sister-in-law anymore, so don't call me that. Then I'll call you Sister Vivian. I took out 2 slips from my bag and handed them to Sophia. Sophia looked at the list in confusion and suddenly shouted, Ethan's sperm survival rate is 10%, that child is not Ethan's. 3 months ago, I begged Ethan to go for a checkup with me. Ethan, worn down by my insistence, could only nod in agreement. After reluctantly finishing the checkup, he left, and I went alone to collect the results. In these years, my checkups have shown no issues. The doctor suggested that my husband should also get checked. After I told Ethan, he looked at me angrily and said he wouldn't have any problems. It was only when I saw the child that I understood why he was so confident. I took back the list from Sophia's hand. Now is not the time to expose this secret. Sure, you have to let me know in advance so I can see the good show. Vivian looked at Sophia and said, it's just that we don't know who Mia's child's biological father is right now. Sophia instantly became interested. I'll go back and find out the situation for you. Mia lay on the sofa, holding a plate of grapes, watching television, occasionally bursting into fits of laughter. The grandmother came out holding her grandson and saw Mia lounging comfortably on the sofa, feeling a surge of anger inside. Looking at his grandson in his arms, he said, Grandson, when you get married in the future, don't forget your mother. Whatever you have, remember to be filial to your mother first. Mia pretended not to understand. Mom, he's only 2 years old, he doesn't understand these words. Grandma was even more furious. Ethan came out of the room wearing a tie. Mia, why isn't my shirt ironed, and where is that tie clip? I need to leave. Mia said nonchalantly, I'm not your hired maid, how would I know where your tie clip is? The grandmother angrily pointed at Ethan. If it weren't for the child, I wouldn't allow her to enter the G family door. Mia exploded. If it weren't for Ethan begging me to have a child, I wouldn't want to step into the G family's door. With such a big family business, you can't even hire a nanny? After using Vivian, you want to use me too? No way. Ethan could only act as a mediator in the middle, soothing one side and then the other. The doorbell suddenly rang, and Ethan hurried out of the chaos to open the door. Why are you back? In front of the door stood Sophia, carrying large and small bags. Mom, bro, I got expelled. Sophia sat on the sofa and cried loudly as soon as she entered. Mom, I should have listened to you and married Boss Lou. After Sophia's heartfelt lament, the mother-in-law and Mia also stopped arguing. Grandma sat down next to Sophia. If you had listened to me back then, you would be a rich lady by now. Alas, but Boss Lou got married last year. Next time, I'll find you someone even wealthier. Mia stood to the side holding the child, curling her lips in disdain as she glanced at the mother and daughter being embraced. Sophia in her grandmother's arms rolled her eyes, thinking to herself that if it weren't for the chance to see a good show, she wouldn't have come back at all. I lay in bed watching the variety show on TV, while my phone kept ringing beside me. Since Sophia returned home, she has been messaging me every day about the chaotic happenings in her house. It's either today that the mother-in-law blames Mia for not doing housework, or tomorrow she blames Mia for only knowing how to ask Ethan for money. Perhaps Ethan is true love, as he mostly stands by Mia's side. I was annoyed by the noise and opened my phone. Sophia said that something big happened in the G family today. Mia lost one of Ethan's major clients. I was instantly filled with curiosity. Although Ethan isn't much of a person, he is still diligent in his work. I sent a message to Sophia, Holiday Cafe, see you in 20 minutes. Such an exciting thing must be discussed in person. I sat by the window, slowly savoring my coffee, enjoying the gentle breeze on my face, and saw Sophia running over with an excited expression. Ethan is about to make a big deal this time. Sophia had just sat down, still catching her breath. I asked curiously, what's going on? A few days ago, Ethan met with a big client who said that if he could secure this deal, the G family wouldn't have to worry for the rest of their lives. However, during the evening social event, Mia, after having an argument with my mom, frantically called Ethan. Later, Ethan turned off his phone. Mia asked the secretary for the address and went over, interrupting the dinner. When Ethan returned, he had a big fight with her and didn't give her a good face for several days afterward. Sophia took a breath, picked up a glass of water from the table and gulped it down, then continued, Ethan also had a stroke of bad luck. With Mia causing such a scene, they didn't lose the client, but on the day of signing the contract, Mia remembered what happened a few days ago and tore up Ethan's contract, even hid the USB drive. I leisurely picked up the coffee and took a sip. Your brother is such a meticulous person, doesn't he have a backup? Sophia chuckled, of course there's a backup, but Mia is quite the talent, holding Ethan back from leaving. I raised an eyebrow and smiled. At first, I just thought Mia was a bit materialistic, but now it seems she is quite unaware of the gravity of things. Sophia continued, by the time Ethan calmed Mia down and arrived at the scene, the client had already boarded the plane. I remembered before, there was a time when Ethan's contract was left at home, and he called me to bring it over. I was anxious and hurried all the way, even twisting my ankle, and in the end, all he said was, why are you so slow? Sophia interrupted my thoughts. But I've been back for almost half a month, and I haven't seen Mia or anyone else. I closed my eyes, enjoying the warm sunlight. No rush, the tale will always show itself. As soon as I walked into the hotel lobby, I saw a familiar person. Long time no see, Vivian. When Leo saw me, he walked over to greet me. Long time no see, what brings you to Qingjiang? I came to meet a client. Are you staying at this hotel? I pressed my lips together and smiled, I'll stay here for a few days, and once I get the divorce certificate, I'll go back. Leo looked stunned, seemingly unable to believe as he asked, you want a divorce? I nodded in response to his incredulous gaze. I waved my hand and said, I have something to do, I'll head up first. Let's have a meal together when we have time. Back in the room, I lay on the soft bed, staring at the void before me. Leo is my high school classmate, and during high school, we were both the prominent figures of the school. We come from similar backgrounds, are of similar ages, and even have similar interests, so it was only natural that we got together after graduating from high school. But his university is in another city, and we can't meet often, so over time, our feelings faded. On Valentine's Day of my freshman year, everyone else in the dorm had their boyfriends with them. I called him, and he said he was busy with experiments and would accompany me next time. Later, I brought up breaking up with him. He also came to find me a few times, wanting to win me back, but I rejected him each time. Half a year later, I met Ethan. In the middle of the night, I was sound asleep when I was awakened by the ringing of a phone. Without even seeing whose call it was, I answered it. Hello? But there was no sound on the other end of the line. I asked again, who is it? After waiting for a while, there was still no response. Just as I was about to hang up, a voice came from the other end of the line. Ethan's voice was muffled, as if he had drunk quite a bit. Vivian, how nice it would be if we were like before, if you could give birth. I was so angry that I laughed. Get lost. Finally, the day had come to pick up the divorce certificate. I woke up early and waited at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. I waited for a long time at the door, but Ethan never showed up. When I called him, he didn't answer. I had no choice but to get Mia's contact information from Sophia. Hey. Who is it? Mia's voice reached my ear. There's less than an hour until the Civil Affairs Bureau closes. If we don't get divorced this time, the price won't be the same next time. As soon as I finished speaking, the other side hung up the phone with a bang. 20 minutes later, Ethan finally appeared in front of me. Hurry up, the Civil Affairs Bureau will close soon. Vivian, Before Ethan could finish his words, a beep sounded from behind. Mia, holding the child, urged from the car. As the staff handed me the stamped divorce certificate, my marriage with Ethan came to an end. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, I felt the breath of freedom. Ethan saw my happy expression and felt even more depressed. Vivian, will we meet again in the future? I turned to Ethan and suddenly felt that my past self was truly blind to have been attracted to someone like this. Go take a piss and see for yourself. Do you have the right for me to remember who you are? In the past, I was gentle and kind in front of Ethan, and over time, I almost forgot that I was a straightforward and sunny person. I turned around and left gracefully in Ethan's stunned gaze. I returned to the hotel to rest, and Leo called me. Looking at the phone number on the screen, I felt very conflicted. I had just come out of one pit of fire and didn't want to jump into another. I know Leo's thoughts. He came to Xinjiang to win me back the year I married Ethan. During the duration of Ethan's marriage, he also called me, and I firmly refused each time. I still answered the call, wanting to clarify things with him, and we agreed to meet at a restaurant. At 7 p.m., I arrived at the restaurant according to the address. Looking at the sign in front of the restaurant, it was a couple's restaurant. As soon as I walked into the restaurant, I saw Leo waving at me. I ordered you the smoked salmon and French snails that you like. See if there's anything else you want. Leo politely handed me the menu. A medium-rare filet mignon, a cream of mushroom soup, and let's not serve what he just ordered. I looked at Leo, who appeared embarrassed, and smiled slightly. After so many years, my taste has changed. Leo quickly adjusted his expression. When do you plan to return to Benhai? Just these few days. Just as Leo was about to ask me something, an angry voice came from beside us. It turns out the divorce was so decisive because you had already found another man. Ethan angrily walked up to me, with Mia following behind, wearing a mocking expression. Mia looked at Leo and me, rolled her eyes, and ran over to Ethan with a pout. Ethan, it turns out someone outside has already found someone else, while pretending to be all innocent, taking quite a bit of your money. Ethan was even more enraged by Mia's provocation, wanting to grab Leo by the collar. I tugged at my lips and said to him, Ethan, not everyone is like you, enjoying finding lovers. Their commotion attracted quite a few onlookers, and Ethan was left blushing from what I said. Ethan, in disbelief, stepped forward to question me. Vivian, did you divorce me for him? I really feel like Ethan's brain is all mush right now. I gave him a glare and said, we only met a few days ago, and you have no right to meddle in my affairs now. Ethan seemed to just remember the fact that we were already divorced, momentarily lost in thought, wanting to reach out and pull me away. I watched his movements and took a step back, and a moment of grievance appeared in Ethan's eyes. The gazes around grew more numerous, and many people whispered and speculated about the relationship here. Mia, feeling very awkward, pulled Ethan out of the restaurant. After Ethan and Mia left, more eyes turned to Leo and me. Leo looked around at the curious onlookers and said to me, "How about we change to another place? There are a bit too many people watching us." I shook my head, picked up the knife and fork, and started eating the steak. The taste here is good, and it's not my problem. Why should I leave? Whoever wants to watch, can watch. Seeing my calm demeanor, Leo suddenly laughed. "You've really changed a lot." The old you would have rushed up to argue with them upon hearing something like this. In the 5 years of marrying Ethan, the G family taught me a lot. In the first year without getting pregnant, my mother-in-law's attitude towards me was still quite good. In the second year, my mother-in-law no longer had her previous attitude, often speaking to me in a sarcastic tone, sighing about whose family next door had a grandchild, mocking me as a hen that couldn't lay eggs. At first, I would argue with my mother-in-law and cry to Ethan, but over time, I stopped reacting. Seeing my attitude, my mother-in-law became even more furious. That night, I made my feelings clear to Leo. He smiled and hugged me, saying he wouldn't bother me anymore. Back at the hotel, I saw Ethan standing at the door of my room. I frowned at the person in front of me, reeking of alcohol, and asked, "How did you know I live here?" Ethan slowly approached me. "One of my clients saw you living here, so I followed the address to find you. We're divorced now, please don't disturb me anymore." I tried to speak to Ethan calmly. Ethan suddenly held me in his arms, tears falling by my ear. "Wife, I regret it. After you left, there was no warmth in the home, only the sound of Mia and my mom arguing every day." I pushed Ethan away forcefully. "You don't regret divorcing me, you just feel uncomfortable without a free babysitter. In the past, I always put up with you, letting you and your mom boss me around and even insult me. You never stood up for me, and now you come here pretending to be deep and emotional. It's disgusting." Ethan, with red-rimmed eyes, shook his head and murmured, "We shouldn't be like this." I turned my face away and stopped looking at him. "Hurry up and leave, or I'm going to call the police." Ethan picked up the clothes from the ground and walked away in a daze. Watching Ethan's departing figure, I quickly swiped my card to enter the room and locked the door behind me. The next day, a colleague from the magazine office messaged me to meet. Chloe handed me a thick envelope. Chloe and I joined the magazine on the same day, and we have always had a good relationship. Later, I resigned and went home, and she switched to another magazine to work in the entertainment section. Over the years, we have kept in touch frequently. "Your ex-husband's mistress has quite a rich private life," Chloe said, her lips holding a straw as she looked at the photos laid out on the table. Since I found out that Ethan cheated, I asked Chloe to help me look into Mia. After all, she knows a lot of people in this area. In the photo, Mia is seen entering and exiting hotels and shopping malls with different men. Chloe's excited voice rang out, "That child was conceived 2 years ago, so if you count the days, it should be this person." Chloe pointed at a man in the photo. Chloe told me that for so many years, Mia had been relying on her good looks to mingle among a group of rich second-generation kids. 3 years ago, she even reached the point of getting married to a rich second generation, but later the rich second generation's family had an accident, his parents passed away, and he ended up in prison. At that time, Mia was already pregnant. I remember 3 years ago, Ethan often stayed out all night, presumably he had reunited with Mia at that time. Later, when Mia got pregnant, Ethan must have thought the child was his. A few days ago, Sophia messaged me to say that Mia has been urging Ethan to get married, but Ethan has been avoiding her. No matter how much Mia makes a fuss, Ethan remains indifferent. Looking at the different men in the photos, it seems Mia is starting to get anxious about finding her next partner. Mia was anxious at home every day. A few days ago, she brought up the topic of marriage with Ethan, but he actually refused. Even when she moved Owen out, Ethan still wouldn't agree. Seeing Owen grow less and less like Ethan, Mia felt a bit anxious. She needed to make plans early. Since Ethan came to see me last time, I've changed hotels. I booked a flight back to Binhai the day after tomorrow, just in time to say goodbye to my old friends. Sophia knew I was leaving and insisted on coming to the hotel to stay with me for 2 days. Sophia and Chloe took me to the security checkpoint. Sophia, with swollen eyes, looked at me and said, "Sister Vivian, I will come to see you when I have time." Chloe calmly hugged me and said, "If there's anything, call me." Ethan stood not far away, hesitating whether to come forward and say goodbye to me. I pretended not to see, and turned to walk into the turnstile. Sitting by the window, looking at the cityscape below. Xinjiang is a beautiful place, but this place holds my unbearable past, and I think perhaps I will never return here again. As soon as I walked out of the airport, I saw my parents waiting for me at the door. I rushed into their arms, tears streaming down my face. I didn't cry in the face of my mother-in-law's difficulties, and I didn't cry when Ethan ignored me. I didn't cry in the face of Mia's provocation, and even when I found out about Ethan's infidelity, I still didn't cry. My parents held me in their arms, comforting me with tenderness. The home is still arranged the same as before, and the familiar atmosphere makes me feel incredibly at ease. In the 5 years since marrying Ethan, I have only hurried back 3 times, and each time I was urged by my mother-in-law to return. Looking at the strands of white hair mixed in my parents' heads, I felt guilty for not having accompanied them properly all these years. It's good that I won't leave again this time. I will take good care of them in the future. After returning to the seaside, I spent every day at home either eating or sleeping. My parents didn't care about me, and even afraid of making me sad, they didn't ask about the reason for my divorce. A year ago, I felt that Ethan might be cheating, so I asked Chloe to help me investigate him. The moment I found out he had children, I was surprisingly a bit happy. At least I could get a larger share of the money in the property division. I always knew there was nothing wrong with me. I thought the problem might be with Ethan. But the appearance of that child made me hesitate. I dragged Ethan with me to check, because I knew that with Ethan's arrogant nature, he wouldn't care about that report. After I received the report, I was overjoyed, feeling as if someone had taken revenge for me. Later, I told my parents that I wanted a divorce. They thought of Xinjiang to support me, but I told them I could handle it myself. Before leaving Xinjiang, I sent Ethan's report to him and anonymously sent 2 copies of Mia's photo to Mia and Ethan. I suppose the G family must be in a complete mess by now. "Vivian, it's time to eat. I've made your favorite cola chicken wings." My parents' voices pulled me back from my memories. At the dining table, my parents exchanged uncertain glances, signaling to each other. I smiled and put down the bowl. "Mom and Dad, what do you want to say?" Dad coughed awkwardly. "Should we say hello to Uncle Fong, who is working with Ethan?" Uncle Fong is the client I introduced to Ethan 5 years ago, and they have been collaborating ever since. He is also a major client of Ethan's company. Tell Uncle Fong about the divorce. As for whether to cooperate, Uncle Fong should have an idea in his mind regarding the business between the 2 families. After lying at home for a few months, I decided to start a career. After all, I had been a housewife for 5 years and had somewhat lost touch with society. So I decided to pick up the pen again and become a writer. I'll start by writing about myself. After Ethan learned that Vivian was leaving that day, he abandoned the ongoing meeting and rushed to the airport, hoping to win Vivian back. But when he actually saw Vivian, he hesitated. He didn't know how to face her. Ethan sat in the car, lost in thought, when the phone screen beside him flickered. Seeing that it was a message from Vivian, Ethan's eyes instantly lit up. After clearly understanding the information, Ethan's face turned ashen. He couldn't believe the data inside. Later, he consulted a doctor, who said that given his sperm survival rate, the chances of having a child were extremely low. Ethan remembered the time 3 years ago, when he met Mia again. At that time, his mother forced him every day to have children with Vivian, making him drink various tonics, and the house was filled with the smell of traditional Chinese medicine every day. Vivian's face turned sallow from drinking it, and he really couldn't muster any interest. While drinking away his sorrows at the bar, Ethan met Mia. Looking at Mia's peach blossom-like face, Ethan felt a surge of impulse and went to the hotel with her. At first, Ethan was afraid. He thought he loved Vivian, but between the sorrowful Vivian and the sexy, beautiful Mia, he chose the latter. Later, Mia told him that she was pregnant, and besides being happy, he felt a twinge of guilt, but when the child was born, that twinge of guilt disappeared. After his mother learned of the child's existence, she pressured him to divorce along with Mia. After Ethan returned home, his mother rushed in front of him with a pile of photos. Ethan's anger surged even more after he clearly saw the photo. On the other side, Mia also received the photo. She was startled and nervously returned to the G family, ready to take the money and leave. Mia returned to the G family, and as she looked at Ethan, who was glaring at her with wide eyes, she was about to explain when Ethan threw the photo and the diagnosis report at her face. Mia felt unwell and was about to run away after dropping the child when she was pulled back by Ethan. When Sophia told me about this, I had already begun a new chapter in my life. Later, Sophia told me again. That day, Ethan beat Mia half to death, and Mia managed to call the police. Because the two people were not married, Mia sued Ethan for intentional injury. Ethan was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Soon after, the company's shareholders meeting voted to dismiss Ethan, and the G family completely lost their source of income. Grandma wanted to marry Sophia off to a disabled rich second generation to exchange for money, and when Sophia found out, she took the opportunity to run away. Later, the mother-in-law took the child to do a paternity test, and the results showed that they were not biologically related. Grandma scolded Mia harshly, blaming her for ruining the originally well-off G family and for raising the children for her without any compensation. Mia took the compensation money, secretly sold a few valuable things from the house, and ran away with the child. I finished listening to the voice message from Sophia and put away my phone. Looking at the document on my computer desktop, I wrote the first chapter of my new book. Later, someone asked me, if Ethan makes a comeback after getting out of prison and comes to you to reconcile, would you agree? I seem to have answered like this: trash should stay in the trash can. The first year after the divorce, I became a writer and started my life anew, living happily and fulfilling each day. In the second year, my parents began to inquire about my relationship status. I told them that my focus is on life right now and that I am not considering dating for the time being. In the third year, I published my first book, received quite a few positive reviews, and signed with a talent agency. I also got along very well with my new colleagues. In the fourth year, relatives and friends wanted to introduce me to a blind date. At first, I refused, but seeing the hopeful eyes of my parents, I went anyway. The blind date is a police officer, good-looking, and also my type. His personality is great too. After that, we kept in touch. He said he didn't mind that I had been divorced. 6 months later, we were together. He is usually very busy with work, and fortunately, I am quite busy too, so I don't always think about him. In our spare time, we would travel together, stay at home reading, and he would often create little surprises to cheer me up. In the 5th year, we got married. The previous failed marriage did not make me lose confidence. Our marriage is very happy, without any trivial matters or a malicious mother-in-law. In the 6th year, I became pregnant. During the pregnancy, he was even more attentive to me. No matter how busy he was every day or how late he got off work, when he returned home, he would kiss my face and then kiss the baby in my belly, telling the child that mommy had worked hard. After the spring festival, I gave birth to a lovely daughter. After the baby was born, he did not neglect me. Whenever the baby cried in the middle of the night, he was always the first to wake up. In the 7th year, my 3rd book was officially published, and a new book signing event was held. At the signing event, I saw Ethan standing at the door. He no longer had the same spirit as before, and if I saw him on the street, I definitely wouldn't recognize him. I pretended not to see it. After the signing event, my husband stood by the car with our daughter, waiting for me, and I happily ran over. My misfortune has long since ended, and a future filled with more happiness awaits me. The story is over.